The exact moment Karen severed the internet line behind my shed, two things happened that turned my world upside down. First, there was this low, ominous rumble overhead, an unmarked drone swooping down, looking way too official for a Sunday afternoon. Second, inside my supposedly secure shed, a big red message started flashing on my monitor. Connection to Pentagon secure feed lost. Initiating security protocol. I just sat there, frozen, staring at the screen while my backyard cameras showed Karen's smug face snipping through my fiber optic cable like she was pruning roses, then tossing the line into her flamingo pink tote bag as if she'd just rescued the neighborhood from some design catastrophe. She had no idea, absolutely none, that what she'd just done wasn't a petty HOA offense. It was a federal crime, the kind that gets your name read out loud on the evening news if you're not careful. And here's the kicker. She did it because she thought the cable was ugly. Not dangerous, not out of compliance, just ugly. Let me back up a second. I live in one of those painfully average suburbs. You know the type, cookie-cutter houses. Everyone waves, but no one really talks. And the only thing that brings us together is mutual annoyance at the HOA, which just so happens to be run by a woman who thinks she's both Martha Stewart and a Cold War dictator. No one knows her last name. Just Karen. She insists on it, like Madam President would be too formal, and hey, you maniac would be too casual. She's the kind of person who measures lawn height with a ruler, sends out violation letters for mailboxes that aren't glossy enough, and once tried to fine an old couple because their wind chimes were excessively whimsical. If you're imagining a menace in a pantsuit with a clipboard, congratulations, you've met Karen. Now, I'm not exactly your standard suburbanite. I work from home, sure, but my home office is less world's okayest programmer and more secondary signal relay for the Department of Defense. No joke. Under my garden shed, I have a climate-controlled, reinforced bunker where I monitor satellite feeds, encrypted comms, and run a dedicated fiber line straight to the Pentagon. It's totally legal, all above board, but definitely not something you want Karen poking her nose into. That's why the cable was locked down, labeled in 5 languages, and routed as discreetly as possible. But Karen doesn't believe in warning labels, logic, or any law that doesn't have her signature at the bottom. The week before all this went down, she started going on her patrols, binoculars, fanny pack, and the world's most obnoxious digital camera, looking for unauthorized wires. I'd come home to find 3 notices taped to my door, all in Comic Sans, accusing me of creating an eyesore. One even had a photo of my cable, which, judging by the angle, meant Karen had crawled into my hedge for the shot. I didn't reply. You can't argue with someone who thinks the bylaws outrank the Constitution. So, that Friday, I'm on a call with the Pentagon about satellite calibration. Everything's humming along until, all at once, I get this shrill beep, then dead silence. My secure feed goes black, and a message pops up, secure link compromised. I race outside, heart pounding, already picturing everything from cyber attacks to squirrels with opposable thumbs. What I didn't expect was Karen's bleach blonde head on my security cam, snipping the cable and mumbling, "This'll teach him to ignore my notices." She strutted off like she'd just disarmed a bomb. I wanted to laugh. Instead, I checked the emergency relay system, dead. That cable wasn't just for show. It was the literal artery for my whole job. I didn't have to call anyone. They called me. A scrambled phone line lights up. The voice on the other end is all business. Feed loss. Are you secure? I answer, negative. Line was physically severed. Civilian interference. Visual confirmation. Backup inbound. ETA 6 minutes. 6 minutes. So that's how long I had before my quiet little cul-de-sac turned into a federal crime scene. I barely made it outside before the first black SUVs and a camo Humvee rolled up. No license plates, antennas bristling. Neighbors peeked out like prairie dogs. Karen comes around the corner, smoothie in hand, and freezes as 2 agents in tactical black walk up, badges flashing. "Ma'am, please step aside." The flyer she's holding for the next wellness mixer flutters to the ground. She tries to bluster. "I'm the HOA president. This is highly irregular." An agent, Agent Reyes, no nonsense, all muscle, just says, "Ma'am, you've committed a felony by tampering with federal property. We have jurisdiction." Karen blinks, tries to pivot, starts babbling about my cable violating aesthetics policy, and that I never filed compliance forms. Agent Monroe, who looks like he bench presses refrigerators, doesn't even flinch. "Ma'am, please sit. We have some questions." That's when her eternally silent husband, Dave, shuffles out in his bathrobe, coffee in hand, and just deflates at the sight of federal agents in the yard. In minutes, my shed becomes a federal operations hub. Drones go up. Agents cordon off the street. Karen and Dave are separated, questioned. Karen launches into a monologue about fire risks and illegal surveillance. Blames me for being too secretive. Agents nod, take notes. Their faces never change. While all that's happening, one of the techs pulls up a live feed. My cameras caught everything. Pentagon brass are patched in. "Is the breach contained?" asks the colonel on the monitor. I say yes. Show them Karen on camera. "Good," he says. "We'll support local charges with federal recommendations." That word, sabotage, hangs in the air. Neighbors gather, some with lawn chairs. Brenda from Lot 6 brings me lemonade. Whispers, "What exactly did she cut?" I deadpan. "Pentagon uplink." Minor stuff. Her eyes nearly pop out. Karen, meanwhile, doubles down, says I'm suspicious because I skip potlucks. An agent asks for evidence. Karen pulls out a stack of HOA complaints, including one about my excessive Halloween lights. Monroe just sighs. "You filed a violation for that?" Then, the twist. Agent Reyes has her team run Karen's name. Turns out, she's a person of interest in an old Oregon HOA case. Misappropriation of funds, minor surveillance, never followed up. My head snaps around. Karen freezes. "That was dropped," she protests, voice cracking. At this point, the agents ask if I have any records of Karen's behavior. "Oh, I do. Camera footage, audio logs, even a shot of her measuring my grass muttering about non-regulation fertilizer." As they upload everything, an elderly neighbor, Mr. Franklin, hands Reyes a flash drive. It's a gold mine. Emails, spreadsheets, proof Karen's been running an off-books HOA fund for years, buying herself luxury goods, and keeping the community aesthetic account fat and happy. Karen tries to snatch the drive back, screams about confidential community business. Dave finally breaks. "Karen, stop. Just stop." 20 years of silence cracked open in that moment. She's suddenly not the queen anymore. This is a war tribunal, and she just confessed to treason. But things get weirder. Reyes finds surveillance files on Karen's laptop. Audio, video, all labeled by address. She bugged the mailbox, the boardroom, even her own allies' offices. And in a folder labeled VIP Watch, classified info about a diplomat neighbor, travel routes, personal docs. The mood shifts instantly. This isn't just HOA drama. This is a potential diplomatic breach. The feds bring in decryption specialists. They uncover payments to a shell company, Clear Zone Property Security, flagged in a DHS sting as a front for gathering intel in high-value neighborhoods. Karen's been coached, maybe even recruited. When confronted, she just stammers. "They told me it was for safety. I thought I was helping." For the first time, she actually looks scared. Dave mutters, "Karen, what the hell did you get us into?" No answer. Karen's arrested on the spot. Federal tampering, surveillance, fraud, potential foreign intelligence cooperation. No protest. No clipboard. Just the hollow walk of someone who flew too close to the sun. The neighborhood erupts in whispered chaos. Turns out, the world's most annoying HOA president was at the center of a real spy scandal. In the weeks that followed, Karen's case blew up. Charges stacked like pancakes. Wiretapping, embezzlement, all of it. She tried to argue she was protecting the community, but the evidence was overwhelming. Dave filed for separation. The board resigned. And for the first time in memory, no one volunteered to restart the HOA. The old clubhouse became a community co-op. My shed got upgraded. Fiber lines, biometric lock, a birdhouse. That's actually a drone dock. The Pentagon sent me a certificate. Even the funds Karen stole got returned. Checks sent out to everyone she fined, with priority for her worst targets. The new guy who bought her house, a retired Special Forces vet, held a barbecue and joked that if anyone tried spying, they better be ready for night vision tag. Still, the wound Karen left took time to heal. People flinched at the word committee. But eventually, the neighborhood started to breathe. Informal task groups replaced bureaucracy. Kids played. No one got fined for weeds or off-brand mulch. For the first time, it felt like a community, not a fiefdom. A few months later, I got invited to DC for a debrief. Turns out, Karen's case broke open a ring of similar security consultant scams across the country. They asked if I'd consult. I told them, no thanks. I just want to mow my lawn in peace. On the way out, they handed me a pin, satellite, red dot, and the words, eyes open, mouth shut. Not sure if it's a motto or a warning, but I keep it anyway. So what did I learn? Sometimes, the line between nosy and dangerous is thinner than a fiber optic cable. And sometimes, all it takes is one ugly wire to unravel the whole fabric of a neighborhood. Would you want an HOA president like Karen where you live? Or do you think that kind of power should always have a watchdog? Let me know what you'd do if your neighbor snipped the wrong wire. Drop your thoughts below, because trust me, you never know who's really watching.